In today's session, we will look into to understand the basic different types of cloud available and provided by different cloud providers, and we will also look into various offerings that each cloud provider uh, enables and helps you to run your applications and data. And we'll look into how on which scenario and the types of application is typically used for each of the cloud offerings. Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Chaitanya and you can call me Chai. I have more than a decade and a half of experience with software development as a developer, tech lead, architect, and various other roles around designing and delivering software products. So to begin with, let's look into what are the types of clouds that are available. Now, whenever we hear cloud computing, we know we the names that comes into picture are Azure, AWS, and Google, and few of the other private and public and SME clouds, right? But what are the types of cloud each of these providers provide? And the one that you typically use is one of the type of the cloud, but each of them provide a different types, different access and different uh, markets for depending on the market, the cloud would change. So the first type is what is known as a private cloud. Now, in a private cloud is completely maintained and controlled by a single entity. Now, in a typical example is your the before cloud computing, the data centers is a private cloud where a particular entity or particular organization would maintain and manage a data center for their applications and their users, and thereby making it a private cloud and not allowing access to any other entity but to that organization which is maintaining it. The next one is the public cloud, which is typically what we use and what you come across, whether it's Azure, AWS, or Google. They provide access to the public cloud so that they maintain and manage the whole infrastructure, and you have no capital expense to be built to be paid, and just pay for what you use and set up your applications and data and have your applications up and running. The third type is the hybrid cloud, which is a combination of private and public, and thereby allowing you to have some of your secure data to be part of your private cloud or the data center, and all other applications and non-secure applications or use customer focused applications can go into public cloud. And apart from this, you also have uh, uh, what is known as a government cloud, which is typically not accessible for anybody on the public. As the name suggests, it is for the governments to run their applications and their workforce. And again, most of the cloud providers have a government cloud, which is not accessible to public. Now, coming to the types of the cloud services, right now we looked into public, private, and hybrid, and even government cloud. But now, when we are going into the cloud, we need to understand uh, what type of services that we need depending on our application and the stage of our cloud adoption. The first term that you generally hear is infrastructure as a service. In this scenario, you will be utilizing the infrastructure of the cloud, and everything else is managed by you. So the infrastructure, you need a database, you get infrastructure of a database, and it's on you to create the required tables, import the data, manage the data, everything, but you get infrastructure for a database. You get infrastructure to run a virtual machine. It's on you to have the operating system up to date, security patches, deploying the applications, everything is on you. So this is a typical scenario where you're just trying to understand cloud and see if it makes sense for the organization. We typically start with infrastructure as a service. Platform as a service is where it is a one level above infrastructure, wherein apart from the infrastructure, the cloud provider maintains the environment, maintains the patches, the operating system, everything, so that you could just focus on developing and deploying your application and going and maintaining the same. Software as a service is the highest model with minimal control, minimal secure work, wherein you just manage the access to the application and the subscription and the licenses. Everything else is managed by the cloud provider. In a typical scenario where any of these are used is you would have come across Office 365, which is a SaaS based. You don't know the infrastructure is running on, you don't know the details around that, but you only have your email account which you can log in and you have access to the software depending on your access and permissions. Lift and shift migrations, wherein you have an existing on-premise application that you want to move it to cloud from on-premise server to a VM. That's a scenario where you may use infrastructure as a service and do a lift and shift, take application which is on the data center and move it onto the cloud VM, and your business is as usual without having to impact uh, much on the cloud. And the last is when it comes to platform as a service, any of the cloud native apps and cloud based applications will go here and helping you to manage and migrate the applications. So this word covers on a high level what are the types of clouds and types of services that are typically used, especially when you're getting started with cloud adoption.